A stunning revelation has just been discovered, and this time the focus is on Mexico's new president. If you don't watch this video until the end, you may miss crucial information that could change the future of the country, and possibly the world. A startling prediction from famous seer Baba Vanga has come to light, and what she saw is disturbing. The fate of the Mexican president is at risk, and those closest to her are already on high alert. Baba Vanga, known for her frightening and accurate prophecies, such as the attack on the Twin Towers and the devastating tsunami of 2004, left a new prediction, and this time she focuses directly on the future of Mexico's new leader. What was revealed about the president could happen in the coming days, with devastating consequences. This cannot be ignored. If you've heard of Baba Vanga, you know that 85% of his visions came true, and now the future of Mexico hangs in the balance. What does fate hold for the new Mexican president? What Baba Vanga predicted could change the course of the country forever. Stay until the end to discover all the details of this revelation that is shaking the power structures in Mexico. If you believe that the future is under control, think again, because when we talk about Baba Vanga, we are talking about a seer who, despite being blind, managed to see much further than anyone could imagine. Baba Vanga, whose real name was Vangela Pandeva Gustarova, was born in Bulgaria and became one of the most mysterious and feared figures for her predictions. She predicted global events with a clarity that left many shocked, and now her legacy continues with a new prophecy that directly involves Mexico's new president. Baba Vanga is no ordinary seer. Over the years, his predictions have impacted the world. It anticipated the September 11th attacks in the United States, the 2004 tsunami that devastated Southeast Asia, and many other events that, at the time, were ignored until they became reality. So why shouldn't we take what she predicted seriously this time? Although he passed away in 1996, Baba Vanga left a list of prophecies for the future, and some of them still give you goosebumps. The scary thing is that many of these visions have not yet come to fruition, and one of them is, Baba Vanga's predictions are directly related to the fate of the new Mexican president, and those closest to her are already worried, which is no coincidence. Given that many of Baba Vanga's previous predictions came true so accurately, who would risk ignoring what she saw now? His followers believed that his visions were not simple coincidences. Baba Vanga claimed to receive messages from another plane, and her words seemed to describe the future in a disturbingly clear way. For some, she was a messenger of destiny. For others, an enigma that will never be completely explained. What is undeniable is that 85% of her predictions came true, and now that the focus is on the president of Mexico, the danger cannot be ignored. What do these new revelations mean? What did Baba Vanga see about the president that could change everything? One thing is certain. If there was ever a time to pay attention, it is now. What is to come could shake not only the country, but also the global scenario. If your words are as precise as in the past, the consequences will be impossible to avoid. Don't miss the next chapter, where we will reveal exactly what Baba Vanga predicted, and how it could change the destiny of Mexico and even the world. The prophecy is ongoing, and only those who are paying attention will know what the future truly holds. Baba Vanga's prophecies are not simply words thrown to the wind. Each of his predictions set off a domino effect of worry, fear, and often amazement when they came true. It's impossible not to feel a shiver when looking at the legacy of fulfilled prophecies, ranging from natural disasters to drastic changes in the global political landscape. Now her attention is focused on Mexico, and the question everyone is asking is, what did she see about the country's new president? Throughout her life, Baba Vanga was known for predicting global events of such frightening magnitude that many preferred not to talk about them until it was too late. When she predicted the attack on the Twin Towers in 2001, few took her words seriously. However, the events occurred exactly as she predicted. The American brothers will fall after being attacked by steel birds. This was just one of many instances where his words, initially vague, revealed a terrifying truth. Baba Vanga also predicted natural disasters, such as the 2004 tsunami in Southeast Asia, which left hundreds of thousands dead. His accuracy is so frightening that, at present, authorities and experts can no longer afford to ignore his views. Baba Vanga's warnings, along with her ability to predict the unpredictable, turned her into a legendary figure. Now, she made a specific prediction about the future of Mexico's new president. What exactly did she see in the president's fate? At this point, it is important to stop and reflect. If 85% of his prophecies have already been fulfilled, why shouldn't we take this new prediction seriously? We are not just talking about the fate of a political leader, but the possible consequences that this event could bring to the future of Mexico and, perhaps, even to the global stage. Something big is about to happen, and the signs are right in front of us. Those who dared to interpret Baba Vanga's words believe that this time his vision indicates an event of great importance. Perhaps it is an unexpected change in command of the country, or even a political crisis that could destabilize the entire region. What is clear is that the future of Mexico's new president is at risk, and the most worrying thing is that this could happen in the next few days. As the world watches in silence, those who know Baba Vanga's legacy are deeply concerned. It's not just an ordinary prophecy, it is a call to be attentive. History has shown that his words should not be underestimated. Now, as Mexico faces this potentially monumental change, all eyes are on the new president and what happens next. If you've made it this far, you know that Mexico's fate hangs in the balance. What Baba Vanga predicted could trigger a series of events that could shake the country in a way never seen before. Don't miss the next chapters, where we will reveal exactly what Baba Vanga predicted about Mexico's new president and how this could transform the nation's political future. This is where it gets even more disturbing. What Baba Vanga saw was not something simple, nor a vague warning like the ones we hear every day. His prediction about Mexico's new president has profound implications, and the fact that it could happen soon has everyone on alert. But what exactly did Baba Vanga say? What kind of event could change the course of an entire nation? According to documents recovered from his prophecies, Baba Vanga saw something dark on the horizon for the Mexican government. Those who interpret her words speak of an unexpected event, something that could put not only the president in danger, but also the stability of the country. The exact details of the vision are worryingly vague, but what is clear is that the new president will face an unprecedented crisis. Some believe that Baba Vanga's vision describes a political collapse, a situation so delicate that it could trigger civil unrest and internal conflict. Others think it refers to a direct threat to the president's life, something that would completely change Mexico's political landscape. What all analysts and experts agree on is that what Baba Vanga predicted should not be treated with disregard. In the past, many of his prophecies seemed symbolic or difficult to understand, but over time, it became clear that his words described events with almost superhuman accuracy. The signs are there, and those close to power in Mexico are already taking action, aware that something big is about to happen. Does this prophecy point to the end of political stability in Mexico? Could it be a leadership change forced by external or internal influences? What is certain is that Baba Vanga saw an uncertain future, an event that would drastically change the president's destiny and, consequently, the future of the country. Mexico's fate hangs in the balance, and time is running out to avoid this possible catastrophe. The president herself was informed of this revelation, and those closest to her are already paying attention to any signs. Government authorities are on high alert, taking all possible precautions. However, the true scope of what Baba Vanga saw is still a mystery to many. What kind of crisis is approaching? No one knows for sure, but there is a sense of uncertainty in the air. What is most worrying is that Baba Vanga has never been known to issue mild or unimportant warnings. Each of his prophecies, even those that seemed impossible, came true with frightening accuracy. Now the future of Mexico's new president is at stake, and what Baba Vanga predicted cannot be ignored. In the next chapter, we will explore in detail possible interpretations of this prophecy, and what recent events may be linked to what Baba Vanga saw. If you thought it was all speculation, what comes next may leave you speechless. As we look deeper into Baba Vanga's prophecy about Mexico's new president, several interpretations begin to emerge, each more worrying than the last. What exactly did the seer mean when she warned about an event that could change the country's destiny? The answers are unclear, but experts who have studied his visions for years believe we are already seeing signs that could be directly linked to this dark prophecy. Baba Vanga spoke about an unprecedented political crisis. Some interpretations suggest that this crisis may be related to an internal power struggle, something unexpected that could destabilize the president and her entire government. In a country where political tensions have always been high, this type of event would not be so surprising. Is Mexico on the verge of a major political upheaval? Another interpretation points to the possibility of an attack or attempt to overthrow the president. While this may seem extreme, it wouldn't be the first time a political figure has faced such a threat. In an increasingly polarized world, with geopolitical tensions at their peak, the chance of something like this happening cannot be ruled out. If Baba Vanga saw an attack or conflict aimed at the president, we are about to witness an event that could shake the country to its core. But this is not just a political crisis or attack. Some believe that the prophecy may be related to a natural disaster that would directly affect Mexico under the leadership of its new president. Baba Vanga has predicted major natural disasters in the past, and the possibility of Mexico facing a devastating event, such as an earthquake or flood, is not out of the question. Could a natural disaster trigger a national crisis, testing the president's ability to lead and protect her people in times of uncertainty? While these interpretations are debated, recent events in Mexico seem to align dangerously with Baba Vanga's warnings. Tensions within the government increased, with rumors of discontent in political spheres. Furthermore, natural phenomena have occurred more frequently, from mild earthquakes to unusual weather events, which have put the population on alert. For many, this is more than a coincidence. The pieces of the puzzle are beginning to fall into place, and what Baba Vanga predicted is taking shape. However, the scariest thing is the feeling that time is running out. If what she predicted is really going to happen soon, Mexico and its president could be about to face a test that will forever change the country's destiny. Are we ready for what's to come? The evidence is there, but is it enough to avoid catastrophe? What is clear is that Baba Vanga's prophecy is not just a vague warning, but a call to prepare for the unexpected. In the next chapter, we will reveal how these recent events can be directly connected to Baba Vanga's vision, and what measures are being taken at the highest levels of power to try to avoid what could be the greatest challenge in Mexico's political history. As we take a closer look at what is happening in the country, it becomes impossible to ignore the signs. Recent alarming events appear to be in line with Baba Vanga's prophecy. Although some still resist believing these predictions, recent events have generated concern among both authorities and more attentive citizens. Everything indicates that something important is about to happen, and those closest to Mexico's new president are already taking action, preparing for a possible event that could change the course of the country's history. In recent weeks, a series of unusual events have occurred, which many interpret as warnings. Natural phenomena are becoming more intense. Small earthquakes, unseasonal storms, and unstable weather have put authorities on alert. For those familiar with Baba Vanga's legacy, these minor natural disasters may be just the beginning of something much more devastating, a crisis that will test the president's leadership abilities and the country's stability. These are not just natural phenomena. Internal political tension has also reached critical levels. There are rumors of discontent at high levels of government and disagreements among the president's main allies, suggesting that a political storm may be brewing on the horizon. If Baba Vanga predicted a crisis involving the president of Mexico, perhaps we are already seeing it unfold before our eyes. The big question is the president prepared for what TM's coming? The circles closest to power are already taking precautions, albeit discreetly. It is known that the president's closest advisors have reinforced their security, and strategic meetings behind closed doors have increased. These preparations indicate that even if the government does not confirm publicly, there is real concern about what could happen in the coming days or weeks. The doubt that many have is whether it will be possible to avoid what Baba Vanga predicted. The most disturbing thing is that one cannot ignore the accuracy of his previous predictions. His visions anticipated great tragedies in the past, and whenever the world tried to ignore them, reality came to light. If this particular prediction is destined to come true, it could trigger an unprecedented crisis in Mexico with repercussions beyond its borders. What is clear is that something big is afoot. From increased seismic activity to political tensions, Mexico is at a crossroads, and what happens next could define the country's future for decades to come. Many wonder if there is enough time for the president and her team to take the necessary steps to avoid the worst. However, as demonstrated by Baba Vanga's prophecies, fate seems inevitable, and only those who are prepared will be able to weather the coming storm. In the next chapter, we will delve deeper into the actions that the government is taking in secret to mitigate this possible crisis, and how political leaders are reacting to this threat, which seems to be getting closer and closer to becoming a reality. Will Mexico's president rise to this challenge, or will she face her downfall, as Baba Vanga predicted? As warning signs continue to emerge, it is clear that the Mexican government is not ignoring what may be on the horizon. Although there are no official statements about Baba Vanga's prophecy, in the circles closest to power, silent but decisive steps are being taken to face what many fear is an imminent crisis. Mexico's new president is at the center of this storm, and the decisions she makes in the coming days could be the difference between chaos and stability. Sources close to the government reported that emergency meetings between the president's top advisors have become more frequent. These meetings, held in complete secrecy, aim to create a strategy to contain the possible political crisis that could destabilize the country. Security around the president has been significantly tightened, and her closest circle has reduced her public exposure. Rumor has it that the president has already been informed of Baba Vanga's prediction, and that her actions are being carefully calculated based on what might happen. What's going on behind the scenes, despite there being no official confirmations? Some leaked information indicates that the government has begun to prepare for critical scenarios, ranging from civil unrest to possible political betrayal from within the government itself. Most worrying is the possibility that important political figures are trying to take advantage of the situation to weaken the president, which aligns with the most worrying interpretations of Baba Vanga's prophecy. In addition to political tensions, the government has also been closely monitoring natural phenomena that have occurred across the country. Seismic activity has increased in recent weeks, and unexpected storms have caused chaos in several regions. This has led many to believe that the country may be facing not only a political crisis, but also a natural catastrophe, as Baba Vanga predicted. Could this be the perfect storm where both nature and the political landscape collapse at the same time? What is clear is that the president of Mexico is surrounded by uncertainty. His government is being challenged in ways no one expected, and those around him are already taking steps to protect both his image and the country's stability. However, many wonder whether these measures will be enough to prevent what may be inevitable. If Baba Vanga's words are as accurate as they have been in the past, Mexico is on the brink of an event that could forever change its destiny. At this moment, it is not only the president who is at risk, but also the stability of the entire country. The decisions she makes now will determine Mexico's immediate future. The actions your team has taken in secret could be the last barrier to avoiding a total catastrophe. However, experts warn that Baba Vanga's prophecy should not be underestimated, and many are already preparing for the worst. The most disturbing thing is that time continues to pass, and if what Baba Vanga predicted is about to happen in the next few days, there is not much time left to act. Will what the government is doing be enough, or is it already too late to prevent what is to come? In the next part, we will delve deeper into the political and social repercussions that this crisis could have for Mexico, and how the president, surrounded by uncertainty, will be put to the test like never before. While the government continues its preparations in secret, the true impact of the crisis that Baba Vanga predicted is already beginning to be felt. Mexico is at a crossroads, and the consequences of what is about to happen could trigger a series of events that not only put the future of the new president at risk, but also the country's social structure. The decisions taken in the coming days will have profound repercussions, capable of changing the course of the nation forever. In the political field, the president faces the biggest challenge of her career. Internal tensions have reached a critical point, and many of his close allies have already begun to distance themselves from his government. Rumors of political betrayal are growing stronger, and many wonder if some of the country's most influential leaders are plotting a move to destabilize their administration. If Baba Vanga's prediction is correct, this would be the perfect time for the president's opponents to strike, weakening her government and putting her political future at risk. But it's not just the government that's at stake. Mexican society is also beginning to feel the effects of this growing uncertainty. Although the media avoids talking openly about the prophecy, social media is full of theories, speculation, and obvious fear about what could happen. The Mexican people are divided between those who support the president and those who believe that her leadership is failing in the face of imminent challenges. Fear of a political crisis is creating a climate of anxiety, with small but significant demonstrations taking place in various parts of the country. Experts in political analysis warn that this crisis could trigger a cycle of social instability. If the president is overthrown or loses control of her government, the consequences could be serious. Mexico has faced political chaos in the past, and this could be the spark that ignites a scenario of civil unrest again. Social inequalities and distrust in the political system could intensify, and it would not be surprising to see an increase in violence and clashes if the situation spirals out of control. Meanwhile, the natural phenomena that Baba Vanga also predicted continue to generate unrest. If a natural disaster hits the country in the midst of this political crisis, the government may not be prepared to respond appropriately, which would only add more fuel to the crisis, plunging the nation into even greater chaos. Recent storms and abnormal seismic activity have already put authorities on alert. However, the question that remains in the air is, are we really prepared to face a crisis of this magnitude? Mexico's new president is at a turning point. The consequences of what is happening will be felt for generations, and the way the president deals with this crisis will be crucial in defining her legacy. Will she be able to overcome the challenges that lie ahead, or will she become another victim of Baba Vanga's predictions, like so many other leaders before her? At the heart of it all is the feeling that something very important is about to happen, and Mexico will never be the same afterward. Society is on the verge of profound change, and the country's politics have never been so unstable. What remains to be seen is how the president will react to this storm. Will she be able to guide the country towards stability, or will her government be suffocated by the weight of this crisis? In the next chapter, we will take a closer look at possible ways out of this situation. What options does the president have to avoid total collapse? And most importantly, will Mexico be able to weather the coming storm? With time ticking and tensions rising across Mexico, the new president faces the biggest challenge of her career. Baba Vanga's prediction threw the country into an atmosphere of uncertainty and fear. So what can the president do to avoid this total collapse? Are there solutions or paths that can divert Mexico from this crisis that seems inevitable? This is a critical moment in which every decision is important, and the future of the country depends on the actions it takes in the coming days. The first option, and perhaps the most obvious, would be to strengthen its internal political base. Although rumors of betrayal and discontent within the government are increasing, the president still has loyal allies who could be instrumental in stabilizing the country. Strengthening important alliances, both within your party and with influential figures in the moderate opposition, can help neutralize any attempt at destabilization. However, this strategy carries considerable risk. If the president acts too quickly or shows any sign of weakness, it could accelerate the political collapse, predicted by Baba Vanga. Another possibility would be for the president to reduce her public exposure and adopt a more defensive stance. At a time when any wrong move could trigger a crisis, some suggest she should temporarily retreat from the spotlight while her security team and political advisors protect her position. However, this can also be interpreted as a sign of fear or weakness, which could benefit your opponents. In times of crisis, public perception is fundamental, and any image error can be devastating. A bolder option would be for the president to take drastic steps to reorganize her government, removing those who pose a threat to her power. This could mean a political cleansing within its own ranks. Although it is a dangerous tactic, if done correctly, it can be effective. However, this action could trigger an even greater conflict, inflaming the opposition and potentially provoking civil unrest that would plunge the country into the chaos that Baba Vanga predicted. This is not just about internal politics. Another strategy would be to strengthen international alliances. If the president manages to create stronger ties with foreign powers, this could guarantee the necessary support in times of instability. Diplomatic agreements, economic treaties, and the support of world leaders could provide the strength needed to keep his government intact. However, this also runs the risk of it being seen as dependent on external forces, which could weaken its position among a people demanding autonomy and internal solutions. Finally, there is the option that no one wants to face: resignation. Although this is seen as the last measure, stepping down could prevent Mexico from sinking into an even deeper crisis. However, this is undoubtedly the riskiest choice. The president's resignation could trigger a constitutional crisis, leaving the country without clear leadership and opening space for a power struggle that could make Mexico vulnerable to unprecedented destabilization. The reality is that each choice has a price, and time is not on the president's side. Baba Vanga's predictions are clear. Something big is about to happen, and the president is at the center of it all. What will be your decision? The president is faced with a big question. Will she be able to find a solution that will not only keep her in power, but also avoid a catastrophe for Mexico? What is at stake is not just his political career, but the future of the country. Your actions in the coming days will decide whether Mexico descends into chaos or whether it can weather the approaching storm. However, the most worrying thing is that even with several options at his disposal, Baba Vanga's prophecy could still come true. Will she really be able to change the fate that was predicted? In the next chapter, we will reveal the possible outcome of this story and explore what could happen if Baba Vanga's warnings come true. What will be the future of Mexico and its president? Don't miss the end of this series where we analyze all the possibilities. We have reached a critical point. Baba Vanga's prophecy has placed Mexico's new president in an extremely delicate position, and the options to avoid an imminent crisis are increasingly limited. So far, the decisions she has made have served to buy time, but the big question remains: will it be enough? As the country watches with tension, everything indicates that the outcome of this story is near, and Mexico's future hangs in the balance. If Baba Vanga's predictions come true, Mexico is on the brink of an event that could change its history forever. The president has tried to reinforce her political alliances, adopted extreme security measures, and has strived to maintain stability. But rumors of internal discontent, growing social tensions, and the threat of a natural disaster continue to haunt her. Will she be able to stand firm in the face of this storm, or will she succumb to forces that seem beyond her control? The president's options were discussed, but the fate is not yet sealed. Some analysts believe that there is still a chance that she will regain complete control of the situation, reorganizing her government and taking drastic decisions to eliminate internal threats. Others, however, think that Mexico's destiny has already been sealed, and that the only remaining step is to wait for Baba Vanga's prophecy to come true. If Baba Vanga's warnings come true, we could witness a dramatic fall in leadership in Mexico, brought about by a combination of political betrayals, natural disasters, and growing distrust in the president's ability to deal with the crisis. This could plunge the country into political chaos, opening space for a new struggle for power with unpredictable consequences. The history of Mexico has already gone through moments of radical change, and this could be another chapter in this long saga of challenges and transformations. But what if the president manages to overcome this crisis? If she avoids collapse and stabilizes the country, she could emerge even stronger, consolidating her leadership and silencing her critics. A scenario in which the president emerges victorious from this crisis would be a blow to Baba Vanga's predictions, showing that, although destiny seems inevitable, human will can be strong enough to change the course of events. However, there is always the unsettling possibility that even if the president manages to survive this moment, the long-term repercussions of this crisis will be devastating. Political tensions do not disappear overnight, and Mexican society, divided and anxious, may take years to recover from this episode. Even if the president weathers the storm, she could find herself faced with a deeply wounded country, where mistrust and political wounds will take a long time to heal. Furthermore, there is the mystery of nature. Baba Vanga also predicted natural disasters, and although Mexico has already experienced some unusual phenomena, many fear that the worst is yet to come. If the country is hit by an earthquake or a devastating storm in the midst of this political crisis, the government may not be prepared to respond appropriately. This would only add more fuel to the fire, plunging the nation into a spiral of chaos. Recent storms and abnormal seismic activity have already put authorities on alert. But the question remains: are we prepared to face a crisis of this magnitude? Mexico's new president is at a turning point. The future of the entire nation is at stake, and what happens in the next few days will define not only the president's fate, but the country's direction. Baba Vanga's prophecies have proven surprisingly accurate in the past, and the world is watching to see if they will come true this time too. Will the prophecy come true, or will this be the moment when Mexico defies its destiny and emerges stronger than ever? Time will tell, but what is certain is that the country will never be the same after this storm. As the days pass, the atmosphere in Mexico becomes increasingly charged with tension. On the streets, the population is beginning to feel the impact of growing uncertainty. Small demonstrations appear in some cities, fueled by rumors and growing distrust in the government. Although many still support the president, there is a feeling that something big is about to happen. Something that no one can predict for sure, but that everyone fears. Social networks are buzzing with theories, speculations, and fears, while the news avoids openly discussing Baba Vanga's prophecy, maintaining the focus on visible problems, such as the economic crisis and political unrest. Within the government, closed-door meetings become more frequent and more tense. The president, surrounded by her closest advisors, analyzes every move carefully. She knows that any hasty decision can accelerate what Baba Vanga predicted. Your alliances are put to the test, and the loyalty of those by your side has never been more uncertain. Even his most faithful allies are beginning to question the direction the country is taking, while influential figures in the political and economic scene are beginning to draw up their own contingency plans should the worst happen. At the same time, the threat of a natural disaster hangs in the air. Seismologists and meteorologists closely monitor the country's geological and climate activity, recording small tremors and unusual weather patterns that only add to the sense that the crisis will not just be political. Nature seems to conspire to align itself with the chaos scenario that is emerging. The media, although discreet, begins to report these events more frequently, alerting the population to possible disasters, while authorities try to remain calm. The president, pressured from all sides, is looking for alternatives to consolidate her power. One of the options under discussion is the reorganization of his cabinet, a move that, if well executed, could demonstrate strength and leadership. However, poorly calculated action could fuel the fears of opponents and intensify the crisis. The dismissal of influential figures in the government is already being studied, but the fear of provoking an internal revolt is great. Each step is delicate, and the president knows that time is running out. Meanwhile, opposition groups quietly grow their support bases. Disgruntled political leaders, some with veiled ambitions, are beginning to organize their own strategies in case the government falls. In discreet meetings, the country's political and economic elite discuss the possibility of a post-presidential Mexico, analyzing the scenarios that could emerge from a leadership crisis. In the midst of all this, the population continues to live under increasing tension. The effects of the crisis are beginning to manifest themselves in everyday life. Unstable markets, lack of products in some regions, and a general unrest that is spreading like an invisible virus. The small earthquakes and sudden storms, although still controllable, only intensify the perception that the country is about to face something much bigger. In cafes, on public transport, and in homes, people discuss in hushed tones, trying to understand what could happen. At the same time, the international scene is closely watching the development of events. Major world powers continue to monitor Mexico closely, with some countries already discussing the possibility of diplomatic interventions if the situation gets out of control. The president has maintained discreet diplomatic contacts, trying to secure external support that could serve as a safety net amid the storm. However, this dependence on international aid may be a weakness as part of the population is increasingly skeptical about foreign influence in the country's internal affairs. As the days turn into weeks, the tension crystallizes into silent waiting. Everyone seems to know that the breaking point is near, but no one knows exactly when or how it will come. Baba Vanga's prophecy becomes the invisible backdrop of all these movements, a shadow that hangs over every decision made, over every speech and every political movement. As the weeks pass, the climate of uncertainty in Mexico reaches its peak. The president, pressured from all sides, intensifies her actions in an attempt to stabilize the country. Increasingly secret and tense meetings take place in the heart of the government, with the constant search for solutions that can avoid a greater disaster. She no longer only counts on her political allies, but also on experts in security, economics, and even international advisors. The president understands that her time is running out, and that any mistake could be her last. From the outside, the scenario seems even more volatile. Tensions in the streets increase, small demonstrations gain strength, and the population, which previously watched in silence, is now beginning to take a stand. Some demand immediate responses, while others call for radical change. Rumors of a possible natural catastrophe intensify. Scientists monitor seismic activities with increased attention, predicting that a major event may be on the horizon. The fear that politics and nature collide is a constant concern. Internally, the government is already beginning to face the first signs of collapse. Discontent among once loyal allies becomes more evident, and some political figures begin to act on their own, setting the stage for a possible fall of the government. The climate is one of imminent betrayal, and the president, aware of this, finds herself at a crossroads. Make a risky move that could consolidate her power, or wait and trust in the stability that she is trying to maintain with difficulty. In the corridors of power, discussions about a possible radical reorganization are gaining momentum. There is a suggestion to remove elements that threaten internal cohesion, but this could accelerate the collapse and light the fuse of the crisis even further. At the same time, it is considering a bolder strategy, strengthening its international alliances to gain time and resources, even at the risk of being seen as dependent on external influences. With each step, the tension between acting and waiting grows, and the weight of uncertainty increases. Meanwhile, people feel the effects of this imminent crisis in their daily lives. The economy is beginning to suffer shocks, with price instability and product shortages in some regions. The anxiety is palpable, fueled by news of increasingly intense earthquakes and storms. Every small earthquake is interpreted as a harbinger of what is to come. Everyone expects something, but no one knows for sure when or how it will happen. The international scenario also comes into play. The world's great powers watch Mexico's every move with growing interest. There are talks about possible diplomatic or economic interventions, and some nations are already preparing to act if the crisis worsens. The president, in turn, balances between maintaining the country's autonomy and seeking the external support necessary to avoid a total collapse. The crisis reaches its climax. On a tumultuous night, a massive earthquake hits central Mexico. Chaos quickly spreads through the cities, while the country's infrastructure suffers severe damage. The government, already politically weakened, is finding it difficult to organize an efficient response. The natural catastrophe, added to the political crisis that was already underway, appears to be the final blow. What was once just a prophecy begins to materialize before everyone's eyes. However, it is at this moment of greatest fragility that the president, against all expectations, finds the strength to react. She summons her closest allies and strategically reorganizes her government, removing traitors and strengthening her support bases. In the midst of chaos, she manages to mobilize international aid, guaranteeing resources for the country's recovery and showing the people that, even in the face of the worst scenario, there is still hope. Little by little, the government response begins to have an effect. The population, initially in disbelief, sees the president as a figure of resilience and strength. Mexico, although shaken, is slowly beginning to rise again. The storm that seemed destined to destroy the country becomes an opportunity for rebirth. In the end, the president emerges stronger than before. She challenges Baba Vanga's gloomy predictions and shows that, despite the difficulties, it is possible to change the course of events. Mexico, although deeply marked by the crisis, is rising with new hope. The scars remain, but the nation emerges more united and prepared to face future challenges. If you like this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share your opinions in the comments. What did you think of this journey full of challenges? What lesson do you take from this narrative? Leave your opinion below and join the discussion.